what is happening in the real estate market? Interest rates, mortgage deferrals, what should investors do? Those are great questions, and today I have a very special guest joining me to help me explain what's happening in the market. Hi, I'm Paul Haley, Toronto realtor, investor, educator, and speaker, and I want to help you understand what's happening in the marketplace so you know how to invest. So TRREB just released the November numbers. So that's comparing November 2020 to November 2019, and sales are up 24.3% compared to November 2019, like I said. But a lot of that is that the market kind of shifted this year, right? Because the spring market was obviously delayed, but still we're at about 88,000 transactions this year in the GTA, and 2019 was just a little below that, so we have one more month to go. So we will have more sales than 2019. And traditionally this is a slow time in the market. Things really tend to slow down December, and then pick up again potentially January, February. It sort of depends on the marketplace. Average price is up a whopping 13.3%, and the home price index, which compares like to like, is up 10.6%. So no surprise, you've heard the market is up. The market is up. So this is really a tale of two markets, two geographies. Okay, so let's look at detached houses first. So detached houses are up around 15%, but in the 905 they're actually up almost 19%, and in the city of Toronto they're up 8.7%. So there are two reasons for this difference. One is that demand is up higher in the 905, but listen, it's still up in both areas. So for detached houses, it's up a little over 33% in the 905, and 19% in the core. So they're both up, right? Versus there's a hypothesis of their massive flight from the city. I think there is a little bit of that, but I think that might be a little bit overblown. And the second reason is really houses are just more expensive in the 416, right? So you will see more of an increase in the 905, where houses are typically around $1 million or less. There are some that are more, obviously. And in the city, like a detached house, really be lucky to score one under $2 million, right? But let's just pause here for a sec, because listen, a 15% price increase year over year, that is huge, right? That is $150,000 on $1 million home, or $300,000 on a $2 million home. That is a lot of money. So now let's talk about the condo market, and again, it's a tale of two geographies. So across the board, condo listings have doubled from November 2019 to November 2020. And listen, prices are down across the board about 2%, but they are actually up in the 905, almost 5%. But really the 905 represents, about 32% of the condo market. The rest is in Toronto. Now prices are down in Toronto 3%, and that represents 68% of the market. So listen, a lot of people are like, the sky is burning, condos are crashing, no one wants a condo. But listen, condo sales are still actually up almost 1%, right? And more in the 905. So there is still demand out there for condos. So really, this is a supply situation, right? So we've seen supply grow in condos primarily for three reasons. We had a bunch of new properties come online that got built and finished, and people moved in. We had, the Airbnb market is basically done, both through regulation and current circumstances. So all those condos went to rent, and they didn't get leased for the prices folks needed. So now they're hitting the sales market, and so that's it. And then the third reason is really investors kind of getting out because rents are a bit challenging right now. So those three things have really led to an oversupply in the condo market, which is why we're seeing a price decrease, not really a demand decrease, okay? A demand increase, actually. So there's probably never actually been a better time in the history of the city to buy a condo. There are lots of them. Demand is actually still there. There's just a ton of supply. So it's entering really almost a buyer's market. So sales to new listings is at 43%. Once it goes below 40, that indicates a buyer's market. Properties are on the market an average of 25 days, and there's a little over 4 months of inventory out there. So there are lots of condos to choose from, and you can negotiate a deal. You can buy a condo with conditions, all the things that you haven't been able to do for a long time. So real estate has really defied logic, and it's really because basically what I call free credit. There's lots of money out there for people that have access to it. And this leads me to my very special guest today, Monty Sands. Monty, do you want to introduce yourself?
My only qualification is I'm Paul's buddy. Hi, I'm Monty Sands. I'm lead planner with Mortgage Architects. We're a coast-to-coast company, and I also head up a group called Mortgage Matchmaker Group. We're basically, platinum status with just about every bank across the country, which gives us preferential rates and treatment. But I also have a real good process around over $1 million properties and multiple property holders. So investors, refinancers, purchasers. So that's where I come in. And I guess Paul's got some questions for me. So I'll shoot it back to Paul.
So Monty, let me ask you a few questions about cheap credit. So, what's going on with interest rates in the marketplace right now?
The rates are low for a number of reasons, but they're low and it's stimulating the economy. Rates are so low, people who couldn't qualify for a house or a condo before, they can qualify now. We're still qualifying them on the Bank of Canada rate, but they're more compelled because of the lower payments. So people are getting, their parents to co-sign, everybody, and their uncle and cousin is trying to buy or refinance right now. And we're doing a good job of getting those things done.
Now, we've seen some rates below 1%, I guess, for the first time ever. Who has access to that?
Yeah, I can speak to that. So what's interesting is when you're putting less than 20% down, you can actually get a lower rate than somebody putting more than 20% down, but your cost of borrowing is not lower because CMHC will throw on an insurance premium that could be, anywhere from 2 to 4 something percent. There's a chart on CMHC website, but on a $200,000 mortgage, it could be around, it could be depending on the down payment, it could be about $10,000. So now HSBC, Paul, you actually brought that up, is offering some pretty low rates, and so sometimes these are teaser rates, and sometimes they're not. I would suggest speaking to a mortgage broker to get some insight before you tell HSBC too much, because if you've told HSBC too much, I can't take you there and retell your story once you've already told it.
That's a pro tip right there, folks. Talk to the mortgage broker first.
Right.
So let me ask you, what do you think is going to happen with interest rates?
I think that interest rates are going to stay low for the foreseeable future. Nobody's talked about increasing them. I haven't heard about that. And I think if the rates were to increase, it would have a significant impact on our real estate market. Right now, the market's still stable, even though there's a lack of immigration. We're still seeing multiple offers. I mean, when I start talking about multiple offers, that's where I would defer back to you, Paul. On the brokering side, though, by the time I qualify somebody, sometimes they've made a couple of offers before I'm actually doing a deal for them, because everyone's competing for the same supply. There's a lot more demand and less supply right now. And I think property values are going to keep increasing.
Yeah, so let's talk about mortgage deferrals, because I think a lot of folks are kind of waiting to see what happens in the market with mortgage deferrals, right? So, what's going on?
Yeah, so let's talk about mortgage deferrals. I'll give you an interesting inside stat. I don't think this is in the news or media yet, and I can't say which bank or we call it FI, financial institution. I can't say which FI has reported this, but I heard through the grapevine that 30% of mortgage deferrals actually defaulted, and that's already happened, and the market has absorbed
Wow.
it. Like the market has already absorbed it.
Well, let's talk about that. So what does that mean? Absorb it, because they haven't actually forced power of sale, right?
Well, you know what? You can't even power of sale. There's a moratorium on that right now. You can't.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, that's right.
What I mean by absorb that is that you would think that as people start to default on their mortgages, there would be some fire sales, which would start to affect real estate prices in certain pockets. I mean, like maybe not pockets because these mortgage defaults are spread out all over the place, but
Yeah. Do you know what? Like, I guess you don't know geographically where that is, right?
really it's not a geographic thing. It's more of a credit worthy. It's more of like an individual thing, but
But I think like Evan Siddall originally his forecast was I think 20%, and he was saying that is more focused in Toronto and Vancouver, and that was because I think the mortgages are just higher here. But
that makes sense.
don't know if that's true or not.
Well, the number 30% was across the board. So,
So that's across Canada, right?
yeah, yeah, yeah. So, I mean, you would think that that would have caused something. It would have maybe had a ripple effect on multiple offers or values. But
Yeah, honestly, you're the only person that told me that stat. So
yeah, not a lot of people know about it. That's why.
right. But I mean, theoretically, this could take some time to hit the market because you can't power of sale right now. So
You can't, but people who are defaulting on their mortgage, they know that once that starts to happen, we call it, let's stop the bleeding. And
right.
stop the bleeding is either to refinance quickly or to sell. Because once you default, daily charges, you know,
Oh, really? Okay. Well, talk about that a little bit. What's that process like?
it's just the power sale process is a costly one for the borrower.
Right.
Like legal fees stack up, interest charges, admin fees, just a bunch of fees.
Right. So if I could summarize what Monty's saying, Monty is saying, if you think you're going to default on your mortgage, sell your house on your own before it gets expensive.
Or let's refinance it. If you really feel like you want to keep the property and you can make a case to me, we're make sense lenders or make sense bankers, my contacts and I. So your bank might have said no. Your bank might have said you don't have any options. But I think you should always get a second opinion, and you can get that second opinion at mortgagematchmaker.ca.
You always have options, right, Monty Sands?
That's right. I got options for you. I think there's a hip hop track that talks about options. Yeah.
So I guess, what do you think's going to happen to the real estate market, based on this?
So we're all we're all surprised because I keep having this conversation with like owners of capital companies, senior executives at banks, investors, like private mom and pop lenders. When I say mom and pop lenders, I'm talking about the people who I'm friends with that let me manage their money, and they're sophisticated investors. And everyone's just surprised. We're all just surprised that there hasn't been an opportunity other than micro condos to buy.
Because it's a short-term phenomenon, right? I think people are forgetting that, yeah, there is some flight outside of the cities. The problem is now, like, I have talked to realtors in the county and up north, and there's nothing left to buy. A, B, prices are up 20-30%. But I think people banking on the world changing and people not coming back to the city is probably not a great idea, because we are going to have a ton of immigration next year. I think Toronto is one of those cities that just keeps ranking higher and higher in terms of a place where people want to live. and we're going to see, I think, 600,000 people are going to move here in the next 3 years. So the really important point is, what do I do with all that information, Paula Haley? So if you're looking to buy, a freehold, now is still a great time to buy. Yeah, there's competition, but that could potentially get worse. And interest rates are as low as they're ever going to be. So if you buy and you lock in at good rates, you can afford your mortgage, then in 2, 3, 4, 5 years, you'll be in great shape. If you're looking to buy a condo, like I said, there's probably never been a better time to buy a condo, especially the smaller ones. So, if you're interested in that, please shoot me an email. Now, if you need to sell, if you think you're going to default on your mortgage, let's look at selling in January when the market comes back, because it's a bit slower right now. If you need to sell a condo, if you can wait. If you can't, let's do some creative things like we've done recently. One condo we staged as an art show, which got a lot of interest and a lot of people through the property. And we've actually sold some condos just through our network. So we sent it out to our investors and create a win-win situation for you. So that's another option. And if you're looking to invest, listen, this is an interesting time for real estate investors. There's probably never been a more interesting time. Money is basically free, like I said. And the tricky part is if you're buying a property that's vacant, you're going to have to, put up with lower than market rents for a certain period of time. And if you're looking at development, it's construction materials are at a premium right now, and some things are just delayed, like dishwashers you can't get. So some things are going to take a long time to get, but maybe that makes sense, because by the time you buy, close on the property, do the development, then you'll be in a situation where renters are back or the market is going crazy. So that is potentially an opportunity, and if you want to talk about that, I would be happy to help. So I hope you found that hugely helpful. Thanks again, Monty Sands, for all that great information. If you have any questions, please leave a comment below. Please like this video so I'll know to make more of this type of content. Please smash that subscribe button so you get updated as we make new content each and every week. If you have any questions, if you need to sell or buy or invest, shoot me an email, paul@paulhaley.ca. Talk soon.